Well, hello, good morning, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Rob, and on today's video, I'm going to take you along for an in-depth ship tour on this beautiful ship, the MSC Seashore. For wayfinding's sake, and so that we are all on the same page, we will start at the top of the ship and go down, and each floor we will begin at the farthest forward point of the public areas. So we will begin on deck 20, in the MSC Yacht Club pool and bar area, where we were treated to a beautiful sunrise. This area is specifically for MSC Yacht Club guests only, but it's all in who you know, and I knew Missy, and she got me in. So this area has a ton of loungers around the pool, and they do have a small bar area that serves food as well throughout the day. Here they are setting up for breakfast. Now moving towards the aft of the ship, we have a bit of our adventure area. You have your basketball courts, you have a great view of the aft pool, then you have the top part of your adventure trail, which has you walking over the Pirate Cove Aqua Park 2 stories below. And here you have access to some of the slides in the Pirate Cove Aqua Park. These slides are definitely worth all the steps it takes to get to them, and I would highly suggest anyone of any age check them out. That's it for deck 20. Let's head down to deck 19 and check out the top 19 Solarium. This area is reserved for those with the Aurea package. Now, the Aurea package is an upcharge from your regular cruise sailing, but that does give you access to the top 19 Solarium here, which has some spas, plenty of lounge chairs, some day beds, lots of great spaces to hang out, and it includes the MSC Aurea bar. Having access to the top 19 Solarium, MSC Aurea bar, but also includes the Aurea spa, which is down on deck 8, and we'll check out that a little bit later. But this area does have some great views of the jungle pool area down below, and was more often than not quite a peaceful place. Moving back of deck 19, just a little bit here, we are looking over the Pirate Cove Aqua Park, and we are underneath that little adventure trail there. This area does have some of the outlets of the slides, so those slides that we saw up on deck 20 kind of dump out here on deck 19. Moving backwards on deck 19 towards the Horizon Bar, which I'll show you a couple of different clips here, some where no one was there and some where a lot of people were here. But this area does look over deck 18 below on the Long Island pool, which was quite a spot to hang out, lay in the sun, and then they had huge deck parties all the way back there, but we'll see that in a second. Now down to deck 18, this forward area is the MSC Yacht Club rooms, and it also includes the MSC Yacht Club restaurant. Forward of the ship, beautiful views. They serve tons of food here, so you really do not ever have to leave the MSC Yacht Club area if you don't want to. And I heard there were quite a few people that didn't leave the MSC Yacht Club area, because you have lounges, you have restaurants, you have bars, you have spas, you have areas to lay out in the sun, all within your own ship within a ship area. Moving backwards just a little bit towards midship, we now run into the Jungle Pool Lounge area, which does have a retractable roof, so during inclement weather they can close that roof. Lots of different areas here to play some games, lots of seating areas above the jungle pool down below, which is really nice. And just beyond this is the kids club area. Now, we did not have our child with us on this sailing, so we did not get to actually check out any of the kids clubs, but we've done it on other MSC ships, and we love their kids clubs. Do Re Mi, the whole Lego relationship they have is pretty neat. And just beyond that, we go through the arcade, which aside from all of your arcade games you would usually have, they also have some really interesting simulators that you can check out for a fee, and I believe you can also pay for unlimited access as well at times. And then walking out here, we are now finally, in all of its glory, going to see the Pirate Cove Aqua Park, a little splash pad here, and then all of the slides, of course. This was a great spot. Again, when we were on the seaside, which has a very similar layout as this ship, also had an aqua park when we had our child with us, and she loved going to this aqua park on the seaside. So like I said, she did not come with us on the seashore, but I know that she had a blast when we were on the seaside, as most kids that were here. This was actually really hard to get because the majority of the time this place was full of kids. Now we're moving backwards towards the Long Island pool, but first we got to stop at the Long Island bar. Great place to get a little beverage and cool off, as you're going to spend quite a bit of time here at the Long Island pool, laying out, swimming, or checking out some of the huge deck parties that they had here. They have a mega screen back here, and when it came to the deck parties, the silent disco, etc., this place was hopping. This was the happening place when it came to the deck parties at night or the silent disco. Great times were had here at the Long Island pool. And as we walk just back towards the panoramic lifts, you see we're looking down at the Bridge of Sighs, which we'll check out here on deck 16. You may notice that we went from deck 18 to deck 16. That's because MSC is an Italian-based company, and in Italy, 17 is a superstitious, unlucky number. So none of the MSC Cruises have a deck 17. They do, however, have a deck 13. So do with that information what you may. And with that, we move down to deck 16. We'll go back to the front of the ship to the Top Sail Lounge, which again is an MSC Yacht Club only area. Just behind that is the Jungle Pool area and the Jungle Pool Lounge. This had a nice pool in it, a great place to lay out, with some shade, being that it was kind of half inside, half outside. Very nice place to hang out. And then they have the Jungle Pool Beach Bar here. My wife got a strawberry daiquiri and I got a Miami Vice here. It was very, very good. Now moving backwards to one of my favorite places, the buffet. Now I will say I'm not super thrilled on the way that this buffet is laid out. There have been other MSC ships that I think did a better job with their layout. But I will say, for its faults, it is nice that the buffet repeats in sections. That way, if you feel like one area is too crowded, you can move a little farther back. And in fact, you'll see here, there are a couple of shots where there's not a single person in it, which is weird, because these clips were actually shot on the final sea day during lunch. So this should be super busy, but as you see here, the farther you go back in the buffet, the emptier it becomes. And then on the back side of this, we have some outdoor seating for the buffet area. And on the opposite side, the Sky Bar. Many nights we found ourselves here at the Sky Bar watching the sunset on the horizon. Finally, we come to the Bridge of Sighs, which is a glass bottom bridge high above the deck below it, which happens to be deck 8. So deck 15 through deck 9 are all complete staterooms. So the next thing we will see is the front of deck 8. At the front of deck 8, we have the MSC Aurea Spa. Now, there are a couple of different ways to get in this spa. You can actually buy a day pass. Depending on what your loyalty is with MSC, you may actually have a hour complimentary, which we did as a gold MSC Voyager Club member. And then you can also have the Aurea package, and that comes with a fancier room, etc. But next to this, we do have a hair salon and the barber shop, which such an interesting idea to do your hair on a cruise ship. But nonetheless, they have those, and that is available for you. Moving backwards just a little bit, we have the MSC Gym, powered by Techno Gym. Very proud of that Techno Gym bit. Just beyond that, we do have the MSC Business Center, so if you needed any important calls or meetings, you could have those here. I never saw these being utilized really at all. But now we move into the Liberty Plaza. This is kind of like a smaller atrium, if you will, that spans a couple of decks here. And as you see, there's its namesake, Lady Liberty. She stands proudly above the casino bar, which is down below. Now we move into the Brooklyn Cafe, which was a wonderful place to hang out. They do have a bar here as well. And then back in the corner of this room, they have what's called the broadcasting room, where I believe they did some live shows that would be broadcasted on the television in your stateroom. Very interesting. I never saw anyone in this room, but supposedly they do use it. Just on the opposite side of the Liberty Plaza is the sports bar. Very cool place. They actually had some slots inside this sports bar as well as the casino, which is a floor below us. Now we're going to move a little bit farther back and kind of start heading towards the main atrium down the corridor, and this corridor has a couple of really fancy jewelry options. You have your Effie store, and then you have kind of a fashion jewelry upper echelon store. As we keep walking towards the main atrium, we'll run into one of a few MSC excursion desks spanning the next couple of floors. Just outside, we have the waterfront promenade, which includes the Infinity Bridge. This is a bridge that is on both sides midship, where you have a glass bottom bridge you could walk on. I will say the glass bottom is very slippery, so it got wet a couple of times, and there was a couple of times I saw people kind of slip sliding around, so be careful as you're walking on that glass because it is slippery. But this waterfront promenade does house a couple of jacuzzis and a ton of spaces to lay out. Throughout our sailing here, I kind of went around and got a few different shots of different areas that were on the promenade. Now, coming back inside, we do have the MSC shop, so any of your MSC branded goods you could buy here. And they also have a giant replica of the ship in there, which is pretty cool to look at if you're into really detailed miniatures. A little bit of an art gallery here, and then we head into the top floor of the atrium, which is absolutely beautiful. Then on the other side here, we have Aurea Tacos, which was one of our favorite specialty dinings on board. This is one of the specialty dining on board serving Mexican food. You can do it a la carte, or you have the option of an all you care to eat. We did the all you care to eat, and it was delicious. Burritos, tacos, nachos, desserts, everything you could imagine, we had. And of course, they do have the cantina of Aurea Tacos and Cantina, the bar. Moving just past this, we walk into the chef's court area, which on one side has the wine cellar. And it is, in fact, a room full of wine bottles. Now, I believe they do wine tastings and things here, so you can buy a package to sit down and do some wine tastings. Now, this area, kind of the chef's court area, is a hub of the specialty dining, and in the middle of that, they have a cocktail bar. So while you're waiting for your reservation to come up, in the specialty dining area, you have a place to sit and enjoy a drink or two with friends. Now, this is the Kaito Teppanyaki, which by far was our favorite specialty dining on board. MSC Teppanyaki is the best at sea and blows everyone else out of the water. Here we move into the Kaito Sushi Bar, which you can do a la carte throughout the sailing, but at certain times they also have an all-you-care-to-eat option, and that was awesome. I did that and ended up having 16 plates of sushi, I believe. It was very, very good. Next, we're going to move towards the Butcher's Cut, which is the steakhouse on board. We enjoyed this. It probably wasn't my favorite, but it still was good. I tried a bison steak, and that was very, very interesting. On the other side of the ship, we do have Ocean Key, which is their seafood restaurant, and unfortunately, this one was quite a miss for us. We were not fans of this dining, unfortunately. Now, just behind that, you have the Uptown Lounge, which I honestly never came in here for anything, so I'm not sure exactly what they did here. And this brings us out to the infinity pool area. Now, this area of the ship is an adults only area, and of course here they have the infinity bar. And on the opposite side of the ship, they have a gelato bar, which is very nice, except that this area is in the sun the whole time. So if you do get gelato from here, imagine it is going to melt almost immediately. We got it, and then we ended up going back into the Uptown Lounge and sitting down to eat it because that was much, much cooler than the million degrees in the sun. So here you can see why they call it the infinity pool. There are 2 infinity pools on each side of this little walkway here. And that will wrap us up for Deck 8. Now let's head down to Deck 7. So we will start off here at the upstairs of the Madison Theater. We really do love MSC shows, and the Seashore had some really good ones. Coming out of the theater, you will be greeted by the MSC Signature Casino area. This casino is quite large for the area. I think they did a really good job of creating space where they needed to be, but allowing it to breathe and flow. Sometimes the casino kind of chops the ship in half and you have to kind of wade your way through it, but I think they did a pretty good job here on the Seashore. And here, of course, is the downstairs of that Liberty Plaza, where you could see the Lady Liberty in all her glory standing above the casino bar. Now, as we walk a little bit farther back, we come across the watches and sunglasses. There's some pretty good deals on some Invicta watches here, as do most cruise ships. Right next to the watches and sunglasses, they have this really nice chill area. There's really nothing here other than just some lounge chairs. And we actually found us sitting at that place quite a few times. Then, of course, we are looking at the main atrium again. A beautiful main atrium with those Swarovski crystal staircases. And then we have the champagne and wine bar here, which had quite a lot of seating all the way around. Moving farther back just a little bit, we have the main dining room of the Fifth Avenue restaurant. This is a very small main dining room, and it seemed a lot more intimate than some of the other main dining rooms. We were in the Central Park main dining room, which you will see in a little bit here on another floor. But outside of the Fifth Avenue restaurant, we move down the Boulevard des Cabarets, which is kind of heading towards Le Cabaret Rouge, which we'll see in a second. They have this amazing corridor with all these lights and mirrors. Very, very cool to walk through, and sometimes it would change colors. Very cool. They also have this little hot air balloon picture where you could kind of step in there, and it made it look like you were flying above Paris or some other country. Then just beyond that, we have the Manhattan restaurant, another main dining room, and again, a main dining room that seems a lot more intimate than many of the others. Now this is Le Cabaret Rouge, which was honestly one of my favorite spots on the ship. When you first come into Le Cabaret Rouge, you are greeted by the bar, and you quickly realize you are technically standing on the second story of Le Cabaret Rouge. Here, they had a bunch of live music, and we did the karaoke, which was awesome, and we had a great time singing karaoke here with friends. This downstairs area of Le Cabaret Rouge is only accessible through Deck 7, so you cannot get here through Deck 6. You have to come in from upstairs on Deck 7. That's going to wrap it up for Deck 7. Let's head back to the Madison Theater and start off Deck 6. Like I said at the beginning of Deck 7, this Madison Theater hosted bingo, a bunch of the shows. This is also where they had the MSC Voyagers Club party, which had endless drinks and a great show welcoming us all back on board and in the family of MSC. Once you leave the Madison Theater, you are greeted by Times Square. They have this huge digital display showing you what basically looks like Times Square in Manhattan, which is very, very cool. They They had a lot of live music there, dancing at night as well. Now this area in Times Square was a great place to just hang out. I think they did some trivia and things here and some drawings, because this area is kind of the shopping district, if you will. And these shops vary in what they offer, from just little accessories to fancy boutiques, watches, perfumes, and more. Then we have one of my favorite places, the chocolate bar. This is where they have their specialty chocolate, specialty coffee, and gelato. This place we frequented due to its sweet nature, and it was a wonderful place to hang out and check out all the handmade chocolate sculptures. Very, very cool. Now you have a main hallway that heads out to the main atrium, which again, this beautiful atrium is such a center point. The Swarovski crystal staircases are divine. Here we have another excursions desk, so just like the one above, so any of your excursions or questions you can have answered here. And here they have the Shine Bar, which, much like the deck above, they have a bar on one side of the ship, which this one is the Shine Bar, and then on the other side they just have some seating, which is a great place to hang out. And then working our way to the back of the ship, this is the Tribeca restaurant. This is one of the bigger main dining rooms. Just past that is the galley, and then at the end of the ship is the Cabaret Rouge, but again, you cannot get there from deck 6. You can only get there from deck 7 and then walk down in the aft of the ship. So that's deck 6. Let's go down to deck 5. Now we're getting into the final countdown here. So deck 5, the farthest forward you can go, this little seating area just past the MSC Foundation and this beautiful sculpture here. So we do have the MSC Foundation moving on a little bit backwards, which talks about Ocean Key and a lot of the things that MSC in general is doing for the environment. Moving forward a little bit, this is where you have the hub, which is basically for your photos and any sort of digital needs you have. Any of the photos they may take. This is also where we went to buy our wristbands so that we can use an NFC chip in a wristband and not our key to our room. So that was really neat, was being able to unlock our door with our wristband and not having to pull out a physical card. Very cool. This is the Emotions Immersive Gallery. Like I said, this is where they set up a bunch of photo shoots throughout the sailing, and then any of the pictures they may take on the ship or in port, they display them here for purchase. Finally, we come to the main atrium and the Seashore Bar. This, again, is such a beautiful place to hang out. They had huge parties here. The white party was absolutely amazing. And the energy that this crew brings is just insane. But again, the design of MSC ships is one of my favorite. It's very classic. I love the clean black, white, chrome look. And then, of course, those Swarovski crystal staircases. I cannot get over that. But here you do have guest services as well. So any questions you may have, I didn't need guest services at all on this sailing, and I believe I may have only had to go once on the other 3 cruises I've taken with MSC, but they are always super cordial. And then they have a future cruise desk. So if you would like to plan your next cruise while on board, that is the best time because they give you the best deals. So there's a little hack for you. If you know you want to go on another sailing, go to the future cruise desk and they will hook you up. Then moving a little bit farther forward, this is kind of the last little bit that you can do here on Deck 5, which is the Central Park restaurant. This is where we had breakfast, sea day brunch, lunch, and dinner throughout the entire cruise for us because this was our designated main dining room. It was a wonderful place to eat. There were plenty of times we got to sit next to the window for breakfast or brunch, which was awesome, having the view of the ocean. Very, very cool. And that's it for Deck 5. Everything else is galley. And here on Deck 4 is basically the gangway to get on and off the ship when you are in port. When you are docked at the embarkation and debarkation port, you get off on a much higher deck. but when you are in port on your itinerary, you get on and off the ship here on Deck 4. Well, that completes our tour of the MSC Seashore. I hope you had a wonderful time and I didn't bore you too much. I hope this was helpful if you plan on booking with the MSC Seashore or are booked on the MSC Seashore. I have a whole vlog series aboard this ship and its sister ship, the Seaside, on the channel you're more than welcome to check out. I would love for you to join our community here at Here Today, Where Tomorrow by subscribing to the channel. It really does help the channel grow, and I thank you very much. My name's Rob from Here Today, Where Tomorrow, and we will see you there.